All right, I'm here with Miss Clara Buchanan. Buchanan, right?
hmm
Alrighty. I found her on TikTok and she was talking about her real world experience in terms of, I think you were helping startups with digital marketing. I don't know, all the
Yeah,
videos I've watched, I've been so impressed, and your background is like your whole vibe. I think this was a match made in heaven, so I truly appreciate you being here today. And I'll let you tell the people a little more about you because I know I'm going to screw it up.
it's all good. Yeah, so I've owned a digital agency for 13 years. I started in the New York City tech ecosystem, helping launch technology startups, kind of as an interim CMO consultant at the time. And throughout that period, I've mentored like 250 entrepreneurs about with organizations like TechStars, NYU, FIT, the US Embassy, all these really great companies. And I got to be hands-on during a TechStars Accelerator program, actually working with a batch of startups on the different product market fit issues they were having. So that was super fun. But as you can imagine, like working with funded and non-funded startups is the hardest shit when it comes to working with business. Like it's so rocky, it's so rough. And eventually, like moving with the agency, pivoted it into digital stuff. And so worrying about digital innovation, websites, uh, marketing for websites in a web oriented space like e-commerce, e-learning, et cetera, anything where there's an online based product. And in the agency, we're working with clients that are making between 10 million and 50 million annual recurring revenue right now. So that's where we're at currently. But I missed startups. So I started going back on TikTok and things and just giving little tidbits of advice and
Yeah.
going on TikTok live and offering some free coaching to entrepreneurs. And that's been really wholesome and really fun.
Yeah, once you get into that world, you can't let it go. It's so like it's always something going on. So thrilling.
It's so true. It's like all the smartest, most beautiful people that are building the future
Yeah.
gravitate into that sphere. And I'm like, I don't want to look away because I'm going to blink. And then next year, we're going to have a whole new technology that's happening and I'm going to be caught off guard. Like, I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So were you more like, okay, a company already got funding and so now they're kind of beta testing and so you're helping them market, or was it like pre-seed or
It was a combination because some of them were like friends as well. Some of them were people that I just met while networking. And I was like, I really like your vibe. I like your vision. I like you as a leader. And so I'll compromise a bit on the needing funding and other things like that and invest more into you so I can get this company off the ground with you. Some
Mhm.
other ones were definitely funded startups that had a good amount of like a couple million usually, though they could work with a couple 100,000 from private investors as well. So it really depended on what stage they were in. But I was the second person joining a company, and I was also like the 100th person kind of wrangling things together into a company.
Yeah, getting in where you fit in, but making a
Yeah.
difference along the way.
Exactly, and learning a lot, and always trying to put myself in positions where I wasn't the smartest person in the room, and I was trying to learn things from what was happening as well. A lot of that was very purposeful challenge for myself,
Yeah.
which I heard on your channel, like you tend to think about a lot as well in your career.
Yeah, just learning from everyone as you go. I mean, that's the key to growth, I believe.
Yeah, same.
Cool, cool. So, the Techstars thing, is that where you've noticed a lot of, so is it a program where people go to get funding, like they kind of pitch their ideas, work on their pitch
Yeah.
decks?
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people that don't know about Techstars, especially if y'all are like early stage entrepreneurs and like doing your own thing, things like that, y'all listening. TechStars is an accelerator program. It's one of the biggest ones in America. And an accelerator program within the way that they teach it is like kind of a course program where you come in, they teach you lots of things throughout the program. You'll learn about product market fit, you'll learn about marketing. There's like some kind of scheduled curriculum. But they'll also bring in investors. And so, as part of being accepted into the program, you'll get maybe somewhere between $50,000 to $200,000, depends on the program, what investors they have roped in. Also, the network, because Techstars is pretty like distributed across America.
Hmm.
It's kind of that franchise model where someone can spin up something that is in collaboration with Techstars, and then a representative from Techstars will come and help set up that program and give them the structure. But yeah, depending on a lot of things, you could give a portion of equity in your company in exchange for investment and mentorship. And similar to like Ivy League college, they have an investor network. They have a network of people that have graduated through the program. And these are a lot of like really big unicorn style companies. And so you can try your luck like reaching out to them or have the TechStars mentors like facilitate that outreach and connect you to them for further mentorship and further connection as well. And for me, I was brought in as a mentor into the program. So I would just have office hours where once a week for a couple hours, I would sit with whatever startups like signed up for my office hours. And I would work through problems with them very actively that
Yeah.
they were facing in their business. And in the accelerator I was a part of, it was educational technology. And these are people that were addressing tech needed for schools, also like architecture learning programs. One was for after schools programs and creating a platform for that. And so it was a really cool mix of B2B and B2C. And so it was like tackling the topic of education from a lot of different angles. And it was really fascinating to see.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's a hot area for investors now, or what are they really interested in?
Nowadays, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of investors that are traditional VCs that have a lot of money to just kind of throw around and see which seeds sprout, I think they're looking at AI right now.
Mm,
For me, as a business strategist, I tend to observe that when the market is zigging, you should usually be investing in the zag instead of the
yeah.
zig.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious your thoughts on that as the finance individual. But yeah, so I personally am investing a lot more of my time and attention into like human connection and working with clients around how to better facilitate that human connection, even in an online space, to make things a lot more like true and personable and long-standing, because that human connection is the major thing that is going to dissipate over the coming years, I feel.
Yeah. Totally agree. So I feel like that's probably why you're in the mentorship space now, so you can be more really close to people, I guess. Do you feel like
Yeah, and also like close to all the ideas, close to people's hearts too. I feel like it's hard. Like it's hard to start a business.
yeah,
But we need people to start businesses. We need people to like shape the future, and we need all kinds of people doing that. We don't just need Ivy League people, you know?
yeah, yeah. I could see how being in the tech stars or any accelerators, people are kind of just coming and going. But when you start a mentorship program, you can kind of keep people by your side for as long as the connection lasts.
Yeah, exactly. And you can like inspire them and join them on their journey. And because I feel like entrepreneurship in many ways is like a dark night of the soul
Hmm.
situation. It
Say
will
that
be
again.
right. It's like such intense self-development that you're learning all at once, on top of a bunch of hard skills. And if you like can't build long-term relationships with people, you can't network well, if there's any like social skills or anything like that, especially things you faced early in childhood, etc., it'll come bubbling up during that period.
Yeah,
And there's many layers to ourselves that we need to address and kind of push through, seek therapy, all the things to make us better entrepreneurs, to make us better leaders and connectors and nurturers of society, you know?
yeah. I heard you say so people who didn't have funding already, you kind of saw something in them as far as leadership, and that's what would have made you get on board with their vision even before they may have had funding. Maybe talk a bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so it's very interesting. Over that time period, I have seen a lot of different founders run companies a lot of different ways. And I actually really fell into one of the reasons why I moved away from being a consultant at the time into the agency model and scaling up as like a service-based business instead of as like a business psychologist, was that they were the problem basically in their business. And I'm like, well, you know, I would love to pop your company off. I would love to help you grow exponentially and all this stuff I can do with other companies, but like your leadership style is the problem.
Yeah,
And so I can't do that with y'all. But for those early stage entrepreneurs, I did see good leadership with. They treated their companies first off, they weren't the smartest person in the room. They were hiring people smarter than them or rallying people smarter than them in community around them. These are the type of people that can walk into a room and people will want to help them for free.
Yeah.
And this isn't because, money shouldn't be shared, but it's because they have an inspirational presence. Like they had a vision about how the world should be. They had a way of treating people that was very warm and very comforting and offers like a layer of security as well, where you're like, wow, this person really respects me. This person really sees me and works with me in a way that they are bringing their expertise and they're putting in a lot of sweat equity into their business. Like this person is working fucking hard. And I see that. I see them running, and it's almost like two gravitational forces coming together where you're just like, you know what? We can do this even better together. And I see that potential.
Yeah.
And so I'd recommend for founders just being like mad moisturized in your lane, working on yourself, putting in the reps, but knowing that you don't have to do it alone. And like leaving that door a little bit open, having discernment who comes through, but also like wanting to build with people, wanting to build with community. And I think that's a lot of personal things we got to look at too in our lives, right? Like we're meant to exist in a village. But we get to choose who that village is.
Exactly. Yeah, I hope everyone is taking notes because she's telling you guys exactly what the people who write the checks, what they're looking for in terms of people who won't be greedy or take advantage of you, people who will be there for the long term to help you see your vision through. So,
yeah. May I ask you a question about
I
that in
don't know. I'm
particular?
afraid.
Oh,
Go for it. Go for
so
it.
from like a finance perspective, what do y'all think about, and what do you think about in particular when it comes to like investing in companies and investing in people from a financial perspective? What personality traits could they show that would show they're a little bit less risk? Because,
Oh.
we look at, just to give a framing here too, we look at the CEO of Canva, right? For 5 years, she was turned down by 100 different investors because she didn't have a big name, she didn't have financial backing, she didn't have Ivy League college, and she was young. And so she didn't have anything really physical in her corner except for her personality and her ability to adapt her deck, adapt from those no's, learn from that feedback, and eventually network her way into having a $7.6 billion net worth today at 38. And so that's, just maybe one framing that could help as well, where all she had was personality and mindset and a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. In finance, it's all about the numbers. Do the numbers make sense, right? But it doesn't mean that the investors aren't sitting back and saying, okay, what's the mental health here? Has this person been through the fire and proven that they can handle what's going to come with managing? I know a guy just the other day. He was saying how he was running a $156 million fund, lost all of the investors' money overnight because of a fluke in the market. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
you didn't manage your risk on the balance sheets, or you didn't manage your risk in terms of the financial statements. Okay, so the numbers is one thing, but it's like everyone's going to take a loss. Have you been through the fire? Have you done the self development, like you said? Have you done the therapy if it's necessary to be the person who can remain emotionally stable? All the qualities of leadership that you said you were looking for, or that you saw in great leaders, from what'd you say, having the vision, being inspirational, being respectful. We watch a lot of these millionaire and billionaire documentaries where some of them are a-holes.
Yeah.
But
True.
but you won't keep a company together long enough with people who will stand strong enough behind your vision to do what it takes when things aren't good.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. And I think what you said about adaptability is also so key. Because it's like so much of entrepreneurship is pivoting, like whether it's the market changing or circumstances in your life changing, other kinds of things like that. It's very difficult to stay the course and know when to not stay the course.
Yeah.
Know how to pivot, use your assets, use your IP, use any like uniqueness that you have to your company. Maybe you'll pivot it to a different industry that is still B2B, but now we're no longer serving this market, we're serving this market over here because things outside of our control changed. And that adaptability is so important to longevity.
Yeah. I made a video too not too long ago where I was saying how, in my experience, most people go out of business because when they are doing their business plan, they don't calculate for the unforeseen circumstances like a roof caving in or a plumbing issue flooding the floor. And it's all about the personality. Can you find that money and raise that money from people who trust you when you need it, because they know you have a great idea, you just need a boost to hold you over for the next season.
It's true. And also, I feel resourcefulness to maybe look outside that group of friends if you don't have that group of friends too. I mean, hopefully you would, especially with, a mid-stage business, some kind of business that already has legs and it's going. But especially for those early stage folks, like grants are great. There's also reaching out to people who have done that product before, like a version of it early on, and now they're retired. They got their money, they got out.
Mm.
Reaching out to those people for investors, like there's a lot of creative resources and ways that people can go that's not just immediately who you know. And I feel like a lot of people get caught up in that, where they're like, well, these are the bricks that I'm playing with that I can see in front of my face.
Mm.
And because of that, this is where my line of limitation leads. It's like, no, your line of limitation ends where your audacity ends,
Yeah,
frankly.
there we go. Audacity is the word.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's say someone is not in tech and they're watching this. Maybe you don't have an answer for this, and that's okay. But what would be the first funding source you would tell them to go to if they're not in tech specifically?
Yeah. So I think a lot of brick and mortar can work with your local government to get grants. And there's also tax easements, things like this. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir that you
No, you'd
probably
be
feel them in a
surprised.
lot of those too.
Not everyone
Yeah.
knows.
And so during this time, working with local government and saying, I'm going to try and boost tourism, boost culture, really give the college students a place to come to further their careers and to network, like little things like that that the local community cares about, depending on your community, how college focused it is versus tourism, other things like that. But by working with them, you can get that early money or maybe even a tax easement, depending on your city, depending on even what country you're in, et cetera. New York City has a lot of startup programs. The city of Montreal is another great example where they have like tax easements for early stage entrepreneurs, not just in tech.
Mm.
And so sometimes looking at that, it's just like when you get your first house, like you can get certain programs like a USDA loan where it's lower interest, just pick a more rural house. So sometimes you just got to explore what avenues are out there structurally already for you.
Yeah.
And then past that, as I said, just going after people that have done it can be very helpful. Brick and mortar, particularly, I think is like a very tricky place and any kind of place where you're owning physical assets because a lot of tech work is all around the least amount of assets possible. And
Mm.
so how can we build up $1 million with, a small staff with technology that is we're only paying server costs and development costs. Like there's no like physical assets like a building or like medical equipment or any of this kind of equipment stuff that you need in order to facilitate what you're doing. You don't even like print receipts half the time because that is all sent electronically.
Yeah.
And so all this physical asset stuff can be very difficult to get over, where you're trying to collect all this so you can even get into business. Um, but yeah, so once you're past that initial humps in the road, just trying to be lock in and say, well, what is the minimum stuff that we need to get this going? How can we utilize digital as much as possible to eliminate stuff that we don't necessarily need brick and mortar right here? And then from there, doing your best to build up over time, making a good impact in the community, shaking hands, doing business partnerships, referring customers over from other businesses, and then they referring over to you and stuff, and creating these like social networks of sharing. Very helpful.
Yeah. I feel a key point you brought up about grants is appealing to the government or the program itself. So in terms of
Yeah.
writing your grant based on what they want, not, oh, I'm starting a business, can you help me? More like, this is how we're going to help you increase tourism revenue. This is how we will help, your colleges attract better students or whatever. Writing it even for an investor, pitching based on what they care about. Some investors care about ESG. Some investors care about um, girls because they have daughters and they just want a company.
Yeah.
They want to fund a company that supports women, right? So glad you
Mhm.
brought that up. We'll wrap up here in a second. My last question for you is: I know you've been mentoring online. So who would be your ideal client? Can you describe your ideal client so people watching us will know if they should reach out
Mhm.
to you and work with you?
Yeah, definitely. So ideal client in the agency, as I kind of said before, is businesses that are between 13 million and 50 million annual reoccurring revenue. These are people that have usually grown a business through Amazon, TikTok Shop, any kind of third-party platform, or also like wholesale, and are now looking to make that a brand-owned thing where they're building out their own website. They want more reoccurring revenue in their business. They want subscriptions, any of this other kinds of stuff that Amazon let them have, but in the flashiness of their own brand. That's kind of our sweet spot there. Also, like legacy coaches that are doing like big programs in a corporate sphere or B2B, any kind of like educational consultants that have built up a big program and want to bring it online. We've been working with them a lot more too. For the private coaching situation, I do offer like one-off strategy calls where people can put a meeting on my calendar and we can just sit down and work out whatever problem they're working on to get them to the next level of their business. I'm not exclusionary to early stage founders, but it is helpful if you have crossed like 20K months. Because at that point, we can start looking at structures for your business, how to like scale that into something that is repeatable and something that is a system that you're putting into your business. But early stage founders, like if y'all want to hit me up and you happen to have that saved away and you want to get some clarity into your path forward, we can talk about those things too.
I always tell people a dollar in your business is a dollar that wasn't there yesterday. So you are in business
Yes.
and just reach out for help so
Mhm.
you can double that dollar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very true.
All
But
right.
yeah.
Well, Miss Clara, I truly appreciate you coming on with our audience. I will probably be doing some group Zoom soon, or like a mastermind or something. And I know people would love to hear from you. So hopefully we'll invite you back for that and tell people where they should reach out to you
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. We love collabs.
at.
You can reach out to me at Clara Buchanan or Clara_Buchanan, depending on the platform.
And you're on TikTok, YouTube.
Yeah, TikTok, spending a bit more time on YouTube and Instagram, cultivating those channels. But again, this is like, I don't want to say it's a side hustle that I aim to turn into the main hustle, but like I'm also still full-time running it.
Okay, okay.
So doing my best
Yeah, I
to
see.
stay present.
I see. And you're in New York, right?
I was in New York for the longest time. I recently moved to Virginia to be closer to my parents in their golden years.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mhm.
stay warm out there.
Yeah, it's cold. So cold.
I'm in Houston, so any type of breeze is like, ooh.
Oh, that sounds nice though, especially like this time of year. I bet you Houston's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All righty. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on and thanks for the conversation.
All
It's
righty.
been fun.
Bye bye.